All right, and the next dog is well, we don't have a name for him. So we've been talking through it, and you can go ahead and talk about him. He's a double Nascar, and then talk about the red boy bottom stuff, and then let people know our thoughts on names and see what they want to do.
Yeah, well, we ultimately like NASCAR enough to breed our best red boy bitch, and one of the best bitches on the yard named Sansa. Sansa's off a red boy to his sister Ginger, and she is just phenomenal in every way. Just super fast, super intense. She's one of those dogs that any kind of stimulus going on at all, she is sprinting from one end of the pen to the other, which most of her pens are 16 by 16. Her 4 feet are landing about halfway, about 4 feet up the post, and she's spinning, dropping, and doing the same thing on the other end, and just an incredible display of physical ability. But she has heart beyond imagination, and so we're real. It's a spiritual moment when we decided we're going to breed her too.
Yeah, she's the red boy Loetta.
Yeah.
She's like that female version of red boy blood.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But we decided to let NASCAR have a go with it, and we produced a good litter. But the one that we liked best was Sansa 2. She seemed to capture both sides of that pedigree. There were NASCAR qualities, and characteristics, and also Sansa characteristics. And then whenever she came in heat, we bred her back to NASCAR. We thought, well, what better way to capture these genes? And produced a good litter. We had a customer come on the yard, and when they were outside of our vision, they were letting the puppies lick their hands, and apparently they had touched the doorknob at a store somewhere on the way up here, but somebody had touched them. It's Parvo. And we got Parvo in that litter. And this happened after we had distributed some of those pups that didn't get Parvo, and then we lost 2 of the pups. And the way the thing was progressing, it was pretty clear that we stood a good chance of losing all of them. I contacted my vet, and a vet told me about a vaccination, and we need to give it not a vaccination, a shot. We need to give
cells.
That was comprised primarily of stem cells, and it's $1,000 a shot. And you ask them, well, what does that do to my odds? And they say, well, it's still 50-50, which is a chicken shit way out of answering the question.
Yeah.
But anyway, shelled out $3,000, and we got them all shots, and they all survived.
Yeah, they actually didn't show.
Never showed any signs of Parvo.
No. Yeah, they might have just been souped up versions of whatever they were going to be, because they all were on fire after that.
And I either was a benefactor of great medical technology, or I would be a piss poor gambler because I paid $3,000 for something I didn't need. But
how do you feel about that cost in the benefit analysis?
Yeah, if they did in fact, if that medication, those stem cells did in fact prevent the loss of those pups, then best $3,000 ever spent, because they're all exceptional dogs. We've done a fair amount of inbreeding with the NASCAR blood, and these guys really took to it well. It seems that the red boy that we added to the NASCAR created a intermediate step genetically, phenotypically, that was highly susceptible to bringing out the best in the offspring, in the phenotype, after adding another dose of Nascar. So yeah, we got those dogs now. How old are they now?
Probably 10 or 11 months, around 10 to 11 months, I think.
I would have guessed pushing a year, but
yeah,
maybe
probably
it's pushing a year.
Yeah,
for counting days and weeks now. But anyway, they are gorgeous. They're super intense. You can see both sides manifest in these phenotypes. Super serious. Just looking for a job. You know, this is put me in, coach. Put me in.
I was surprised that they seem to be better than the previous breeding, even. Which, like you,
generation.
Yeah,
It's
you
the
would,
Sansa 2 generation.
yeah, you would think the Sansa 2, since it's more of a 50-50, would have more hybrid vigor and all that. But for some reason, when the Nascar got inbred on top of it, they seem better to me. Anyway,
Isn't that a beautiful thing? That
Yeah.
this thing is just, every time you think you got it figured out, you turn the corner and there's load hole something you didn't expect.
yeah, inbreed Chinaman or breed him to a Jeep female, and the inbreeding on Chinaman makes the world stand still. So
So there's always room for it may not invalidate the things you embrace as truths before. It may just mean that you need to create one more subcategory, one more clause in the thinking process to account for the patterns that reality's presenting to you. So yeah, the one that we call Jack Flash, the male. We got a male and 2 females, and Jack is. I'm going to have to send some video of him to Alberto, because I think he'll be happy to see just how nicely this animal captures his genetic heritage. Let me add one thing. I first became interested in the Jack Sparrow dog whenever I saw a video from Alberto that showed him in the pen that he was in. Of course, it had a top, and it showed this dog climbing up to the top and examining where everything was put together in the corner, because it was clear that he realized you got the confluence of 3 panels there, 2 sides and the top, and that was his best opportunity for escape. And the extent to how he climbed and probed and pushed, and ultimately he got himself in a virtually upside down position, hanging from the top of the pen, and fell and went splat on the concrete on his back, and hopped right up and climbed right back up and got after it again. Just the intelligence and the resolve that I saw in that little video really caught my attention.
alrighty, so we're looking for a name for that Nascar dog, and you like Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator. There's other Speedway and Intimidator and different names that you kind of come up with, but what did you want to have people send in names or do a vote, or we'll pick from?
I'm challenging our viewing public to take a stab at it, and they may think of something that we haven't, or they may like some of the names that you've mentioned, potential names, and they may endorse one of them. But Dale Earnhardt was obviously the next thing to a pit bull himself. There wasn't no bitch in that person. He was tough as nails, and what was the line I heard recently? It was put the pedal to the metal and didn't aim to stop till I either killed myself or found the checkered flag. Well, that was kind of the way he lived his life, and it's certainly the way he drove. Not a bad way for a good bulldog to live his life.
All right, so we got double Nascar with Red Boy on the bottom looking for a name, so just go ahead and put it in the comments and we'll have a look at that after the video goes through. Next we have Sabe. So I don't think you've talked about Sabe or Disciple. So we got brothers again.
Well,
A half brother.
Kimosabi is no longer with us. It appears that he arrived here with some health issues that we were able to address later in his life, but this particular health issue usually wins in the end. And at any rate, we were very blessed to have him here to integrate back into our Bulldog Hill gene pool, produce some fantastic dogs for us. But as with all of them, you have to be looking early on for the replacement. Ideally you want to produce a dog that's better than the father to replace him with, and that's how you measure progress. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't, but the more you raise off of that sire, the better your probabilities are for keeping things moving forward at a faster and faster pace. Two of the dogs that we have here as potential or probable replacements for Kimosabi are a dog named Sabe, and he is physiologically he's superior to his father. It's like we've had a few cases where we've had genetics pop up in which the degree of muscularity was above and beyond anything you've seen before. We saw that with the Santos dogs. It's like they have a gene that makes them build more muscle than regular dogs do. And so, yeah, we saw that with Kimosabi and his son Sabe. Just a most gorgeous, overdeveloped, muscular freak of an athlete that you could ever want to see, and remains that way to this day. I can't tell you how many times people offered me obscene amounts of money as he was approaching 2 years old, whenever it became evident just what he would develop into, his phenotype. And he has made us happy in every possible way. He is a high probability candidate for a replacement for his sire, Kimosabi. And we have another son of Kimosabi. Do you have the pedigree on Sabe that you can show that?
Yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah. So we have another one that is extraordinary. In fact, I was contacted by some folks in the South that telling me about this dog, and he is Kimosabi with more of our heavy El Negro Eli blood on the bottom side, if you can pull his up as well. We call him Disciple, or he was already named, and we kept his name. The resume that came with him is pretty remarkable. He was a title dog under the age of 3, and we're thrilled to have him back, and expecting great things in terms of producing from both of these dogs. Kimosabi's already been bred a few times. Sabe's already been bred a few times, and so we've under the process of making him a full-fledged stud on the yard is underway, and we'll soon give the Disciple dog an opportunity to show us what he can do. And So we feel like we've covered our bases in terms of reproducing and maintaining the Kimosabi genes on the yard.
Yeah, there's a little confusion with the pedigrees because we have a Garner's LaFonda, who is a Kuma to Lowetta, and then Disciple's mother was Dexter to Africa, and she was named LaFonda too. So,
the reason that happens is whenever I sell a pup, I don't name it before it leaves here. I give the new owner the opportunity to do the naming, and sometimes that leads to this type of confusion. They can choose a name and I choose a name, and the way the sporting dog registry resolves this, they can't have two dogs in there with precisely the same name. I do require that people keep my name on anything that I've bred and produced, keep my last name on that, but they add the buyer's, sporting dog registry adds the buyer's last name to the string. So it's Garner's and so-and-so's, then whatever the dog's name. But in this case, LaFonda was chosen by someone who bought one off of, it was Africa and...
Dexter to Africa. So that's Akuma's pedigree.
Yeah.
Right. So they would be like a sister to Akuma to Kimosabi is Disciple, and then Sabe is more on the Kemo side because his mother was off of Kemo. So, yeah, very fortunate to have like an El Negro side of Kimosabi and a Kemo side of Kimosabi.
Worked out nicely, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the Kemo blood is highly cherished around here, and by virtually anybody that's ever had any of it. It's cherished and sought after, and we've tried to be careful in maintaining its presence on the yard.
All right, so we just have one more, the Elmore dog.
Well, you want to pull up that pedigree?
Yeah.
Elmore is a dog that I kept from the litter. I sent a dog to a prominent breeder over in Europe, in Poland, as a pup, and they called their dog Elmo too. And one I kept, I called Elmore. They've promoted their dog very heavily. We like ours as well.
Is Momo to Kemo, Lexus too.
Yeah, so we have a female that's off of Kemo and Lexus 2. Lexus 2 is one of those super special bitches that met every criteria along the way. Off the original Lexus dog, who was superb. She was down in Mexico for a while and demonstrate great aptitude in being a pit bull, and she produced Lexus 2, who was bred to Kemo, produced a fine bitch that was bred back to Momo. So we like him. Those dogs have a unique look, a unique head structure that, while it's attractive to the eye, the jury's still out in terms of to what extent does it lead to performance. And we'll probably breed our dog Elmore. We'll probably breed him more as time goes by, if we can validate the producing capabilities and the any structural advantages that go along with that particular head structure. We're happy to have him here. He's not reached prominence on this yard yet, but you may see him more in the near future.
All right, so that's all the dogs that we had to talk about today.